Hi there, my name is Rafael Perez. I'm with Leon Insurance Attorneys, and I'm here today to discuss some of the important issues to be aware of when reviewing your homeowner's insurance policy. No, there are many different types of homeowners insurance policies, and that usually depends on what kind of property we're talking about. Are we talking about a single family home? Are we talking about a townhouse? Are we talking about a condominium unit? Depending on what kind of property you have, it might affect the type of insurance policy that you have. It's very common for most insurance policies to provide coverage for hurricane damage. That's one of the most significant sources of damage that can affect the property, and so it's very common for there to be coverage for that. However, if you have a condominium association or a homeowners association, there are times where those policies are bought by your association and they may cover common roofs that cover multiple units. And those kinds of policies might be different than the kinds of policies you have if you have a single family home where it's just covering your single property. So insurance policies are very complicated legal documents. Sometimes it seems they're intentionally created that way to confuse homeowners and make it harder for people to understand what rights they have under their homeowner's insurance policy. But the best place to start is probably the declarations page. This is usually the beginning pages, the first few pages of your homeowner's insurance policy, which will list the address of your property that's being covered, the limits of liability, for example, the maximum amount of money that the insurance company is obligated to pay depending on the types of damage that you have. And many times these policies will also have a checklist of coverages to try to make it a little bit easier to explain whether there is damage coverage for hurricanes or plumbing related damage or mold related damage, fire related damage. Many times there's a checklist that will try to indicate whether there's coverage for these types of damage and whether there's any limitations on the type of damages that you can recover. One of the things to make sure of when you're looking at your homeowner's insurance policy is to make sure you have the right kind of policy. So apart from different types of properties having different types of policies, there can also be different types of policies depending on whether you are living in the home as your primary residence or if you have a policy that is for tenants in case you rent out your property to other individuals. There are different types of policies depending on whether you have a tenant living in the property or whether you yourself live in the property. And sometimes it's common for homeowners to perhaps be leasing a property to tenants for a certain period of time, but after a couple of years, maybe they decide to move into that house. But then you forget to advise your insurance company that it's no longer being leased to a tenant and that you are now living in the house, or vice versa. You were originally living in the house and now you're deciding to rent it out to a tenant. Making sure that you advise your insurance company of that change in status can be very important to avoiding issues or problems that may arise down the line after a claim has been reported or after damage has occurred. If the insurance company finds out that you haven't kept it up to date in informing them whether it is tenant occupied or homeowner occupied, and you have the incorrect information being given to the homeowner's insurance company, that can create problems that you would want to avoid. After you've reviewed your insurance policy and you still have questions, you can always feel free to reach out to our office at 305-300-2839 or visit us online at leoninsuranceattorneys.com.